You know when you can feel it in the air? It's gonna be a hectic week. There's gonna be chaos, traffic, internet's down, your dog's shit in the living room. A lot of times when our weeks get chaotic, the first thing that gets sacrificed is training. And when that happens, our body gets detrained. We start to lose the momentum that we've built so far, not only with our physical capacities, but also with the behavior and the habit of actually training and working out. The best way to avoid this and instead crush your training is to microdose. Strength training represents a dose-response relationship with the body. So exercise, working out, is the dose. The response happens within the body, and that can be an increase in strength, increase in muscle size, conditioning, endurance, hormone balance, all these different things. In order to get the most out of this dose-response relationship, you have to give the body the dose consistently and without huge blocks of time without the dose. In 20 to 30 minutes, you can get a quality workout done if you push the pace and choose the right exercises. The idea with the exercises in this circuit is not necessarily to drive short-term progression, like a week of full training would, a macro dose, if you will, but only if you will. Instead, these workouts are actually designed to drive long-term progression by giving the body just enough stimulus to keep the momentum and the flow going as far as development of the physical characteristics and the maintenance of these behaviors and habits. We've chosen these exercises because these are the ones that give you the most bang for your buck. So every single exercise is hitting multiple different things from mobility, flexibility, strength, power, speed, stability, balance, core. All of these things are all bunched into these 5 exercises with the idea of you getting the most out of the short amount of time that you're actually going to be able to dedicate to this circuit. If you can get those 5 moves done in 4 minutes, that means you can get 5 sets of a total body, high intensity workout in literally 20 minutes. The thruster, not a TikTok dance, instead a total body movement that combines a squat with an overhead press. So I've got the kettlebell in both hands. I'm going to drop into a squat with control, then use the velocity of my squat up to actually press this weight over my head. So I drop into the squat with control, stand up, and then press over my head with velocity. And then as I get this, I want to actually work this continuously. So as I lower my hands towards my chest, I drop back into the squat, load into the squat, stand myself back up, and then press my hands over my head. Keys here is, number 1, making sure your feet stay flat, creating 3 points of contact, big toe, little toe, and the heel. Making sure your knees are not wobbling in, so keeping them in line with the toes, and keeping your upper body nice and upright as you squat. So the weight's on my chest, I squat down, stay nice and upright, and I maintain that posture as I go to press myself up over the head. Our next move is an RDL plus row, and a combination of a lower body move and an upper body move, all working the posterior chain. Setup wise, I have a kettlebell and a t-shirt actually. You can use a dumbbell, 1 dumbbell, kettlebell, or dumbbells in each hand. However you set this up, you just need to be able to make sure that you can get this row in as well as the hinge. So when I set this up, I've got my t-shirt or my handles. I'm gonna wrap this through here. I'm gonna set my feet about hip width apart, maybe shoulder width, and bend my knees slightly. Now it's about pushing my hips back, stretching my hamstrings, and keeping my chest up. So I'll show you from this angle. Knees bend slightly, hips push back. I feel my hamstrings stretch. Once I get to that bottom position, my hamstrings won't stretch anymore. I squeeze my glutes and stand myself back up to neutral. So I go 3 reps with the RDL, pushing my hips back, stretching my hamstrings. Then when I get to the bottom of my 3rd rep, I'm gonna do 3 rows. 1, 2, 3, driving the elbows back, keeping the back nice and flat, keeping my chest up. Then I go back into the RDLs. 1, 2, 3, back to the rows. So I alternate between those 2. And by the time you get through 3 or 4 rotations of that, hamstrings, glutes, low back, upper back, lats, forearms, all of the above should be nice and pumped up, nice and fired up. Here we go. Loaded lateral skater. So we're working on single leg stability, single leg power, single leg eccentric force absorption on each leg. So So the way I'll do this is I'll grab my weight, I'm holding it up at the chest here. I'm gonna hop from one leg to the other leg repeatedly, trying to create a rhythm and create consistency between the reps, allowing my knee and my hip to bend while keeping my chest up, keeping this weight nice and controlled, and feeling those leg muscles stabilize and work as I hop from one leg to the other. So I go out to one side, out to the other. And my goal here is, like I said, to allow my ankle, my knee, and my hip to bend on each rep and to create a little bit of a rhythm. So I bend, control, and then send myself back with some velocity. And obviously the weight is gonna add some challenge to it.
Here we are, back at the park. Another exercise. It's a twofer for you. A little bit of anterior core, front of the core here, and a little bit of upper body strength and stability. As far as setting this move up, there's two options. You can get into the full hollow hold, or you can do a modified single leg hollow hold that puts a little bit less stress on the core and on the low back. The full hollow hold goes as follows. My legs go straight out. I brace my core, pull my ribs down, and pull my shoulders and head and neck off the ground. And then I raise my legs slightly off the ground. And here right now, the only thing that's touching the ground is my low back up to my mid back. Everything else is off, and that's where I would set up my press. If that's too challenging and intense, bend one leg and put the foot down on the ground, and then set the exact same thing back up. So now, one leg's out, one leg's planted and stable, and in this setup, whatever leg is up, that's gonna be the arm I'm pressing from. So if I go back to my hollow hold, I've got the weight in one hand, I set myself up, brace my core crunch, legs go up, and now I'm working a single arm press. Tapping my elbow on the ground, trying to stay stable and keep myself in that position. And if I need, one foot goes down, the leg stays straight up. I switch my hands so the weight's on the side with the leg that's up, and I work the exact same move. Keep my core engaged the entire time. It's like an iso crunch hold for that core. Enjoy.
Feet elevated calf raise, loaded stretch, calf strength, ankle mobility, calf flexibility. All you need is a board and a ledge. So the way I'll set this up, to take my board for some stability, what we want to be training here is your calves and really nothing else. And if you're trying to free balance and hold yourself up, it's going to be super, super challenging probably to keep yourself balanced, and it's going to take energy away from actually getting work done with those calves. Stabilize with the board. My toes are on the edge of this ledge here. I'm only giving myself as much support as I need because I want to load those legs. I get myself to a full stretch, as much bend in my ankles as I possibly can, as much stretch in the calves as I can, and I push through my big toes, get all the way into full extension, make sure I'm all the way up, and then slowly control myself back into that stretch. You might find that as you get through these reps, you might actually be able to get further and further, and you're definitely going to feel a nice pumped up sensation in those baby cows. Now you know the exercises, you know why we're doing them, you know when you might want to try to do these. Now you need to know how to set this up. So you have 5 exercises, you set a 20 to 30 minute timer. With those 5 exercises, you're taking each set to around 1 to 3 reps away from failure. Basically taking it so that you build a good amount of fatigue in the muscles. It feels like it's hard, but never to the point where you're having to grind out reps or pull yourself out of position to actually complete it. Each set, you're aiming to shoot for 3 to 4 minutes to completion, and you're trying to minimize the rest between exercises and between sets to only as much as you absolutely need so you can get the most out of the short amount of time that you actually have. That's it for this one. Make sure you subscribe for regular content that will improve how you skate and how you feel when you skate.